Pablo Escobar was a name that sent shivers down the spines of many, a name synonymous with power, wealth, and unimaginable brutality. Born in rural Colombia in 1949, Escobar rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most notorious criminals in history. He was the head of the Medellin cartel, an organization that supplied over 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the United States at its peak. His life was a whirlwind of extravagance and violence, a testament to the seductive power of wealth and the corrupting influence of absolute power. Escobar's legacy is complex and contradictory, a blend of admiration and revulsion. To some, he was a ruthless criminal responsible for countless deaths and the destruction of countless lives. To others, particularly in his hometown of Medellin, he was a folk hero, a benefactor who provided for the poor and challenged the established order. He embodied the duality of good and evil, a man capable of great generosity and unspeakable cruelty. This essay delves into the life and times of Pablo Escobar, exploring his rise to power, his reign of terror, and his enduring impact on Colombia and the world.
Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rio Negro, Colombia. He was the third of 7 children born into a family of modest means. His father was a farmer, and his mother was a schoolteacher. Escobar's early life was marked by poverty and the stark realities of rural Colombia. He began his criminal career on the streets of Medellin, engaging in petty theft and selling contraband cigarettes. Driven by an insatiable ambition and a desire to escape poverty, Escobar quickly climbed the criminal ladder. He started stealing cars and then moved on to kidnapping and ransom. These early experiences honed his skills in violence and intimidation, laying the foundation for his future empire. His ruthlessness and audacity became apparent early on, marking him as someone who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. Escobar's entry into the drug trade marked a turning point in his life. He recognized the immense profits to be made from cocaine trafficking, a trade that was exploding in the 1970s. With Colombia strategically located between the coca-producing regions of Bolivia and Peru and the insatiable market in the United States, Escobar saw an opportunity to amass wealth beyond his wildest dreams. He formed the Medellin cartel, a powerful drug trafficking organization that would come to dominate the global cocaine trade. Escobar's cartel was ruthless and efficient, employing a network of producers, smugglers, and distributors. They controlled every aspect of the cocaine supply chain, from the coca fields of Colombia to the streets of Miami and New York. Escobar's rise to power was meteoric, fueled by his business acumen, his willingness to use violence, and the insatiable demand for cocaine in the United States and beyond. Escobar's wealth reached staggering levels, making him one of the richest men in the world. He amassed billions of dollars, which he used to fund a lavish lifestyle and exert his influence in Colombian society. He built luxurious mansions, owned private jets, and even had his own zoo. Escobar's wealth was legendary, a testament to the vast profits generated by the cocaine trade. However, Escobar also used his wealth to cultivate a Robin Hood image, presenting himself as a benefactor to the poor. He invested in housing projects, built soccer fields, and distributed money to the impoverished communities of Medellin. This philanthropy, combined with his willingness to challenge the government and the elite, earned him the admiration and loyalty of many, particularly in the marginalized communities where he focused his efforts. Section 5. Terror and Brutality, the dark side of Escobar's reign. Escobar's reign was not just about wealth and philanthropy, it was also a reign of terror. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people, including police officers, journalists, politicians, and innocent civilians. He used violence as a tool to eliminate rivals, silence critics, and intimidate the population into submission. Escobar's brutality knew no bounds. He ordered car bombings, assassinations, and even the bombing of Avianca Flight 203, killing all 110 people on board. His reign of terror plunged Colombia into one of the darkest periods in its history, leaving an indelible scar on the nation's psyche. His actions demonstrated the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the corrosive influence of the drug trade.
Section 6. A foray into politics, Escobar's short-lived political career. Driven by a desire for legitimacy and a belief that he could manipulate the system from within, Escobar entered politics in the early 1980s. He was elected to Congress as an alternate deputy, a position that granted him parliamentary immunity. He used his political platform to promote his image as a man of the people and to further his criminal interests. However, Escobar's political career was short-lived. His involvement in drug trafficking became increasingly difficult to ignore, and his violent methods alienated many of his former allies. He was expelled from Congress in 1984, a move that exposed his vulnerability and fueled his resentment towards the Colombian government. This expulsion marked a turning point, pushing him further into the realm of criminality and violence.
Section 7. The walls close in. Escobar's imprisonment and daring escape. As Escobar's power grew, so too did the pressure to bring him to justice. The Colombian government, under pressure from the United States, launched a crackdown on the Medellin cartel, targeting their operations and seeking Escobar's arrest. In 1991, facing the threat of extradition to the United States, Escobar negotiated a deal with the Colombian government. He agreed to surrender to authorities and serve a 5-year sentence in La Catedral, a luxurious prison he had built to his own specifications. However, this imprisonment was a farce. Escobar continued to run his empire from behind bars, maintaining contact with the outside world and even ordering the murders of associates he suspected of betrayal. His time at La Catedral highlighted the limitations of the Colombian authorities and the extent of Escobar's power and influence. However, Escobar's comfortable confinement was short-lived. In 1992, when the Colombian government attempted to transfer him to a more secure facility, he escaped from La Catedral. This daring escape, aided by corrupt officials within the prison system, embarrassed the Colombian government and turned Escobar into a fugitive once again. Section 8. The Kingpin's demise. Escobar's final stand. Following his escape from La Catedral, Escobar became the target of an intense manhunt. The Colombian government, backed by the United States, formed a special police unit known as the Search Block, dedicated to capturing or killing him. The Search Block was relentless in its pursuit, employing wiretaps, informants, and military-grade equipment to track Escobar's movements. Escobar, once seemingly invincible, found himself increasingly isolated and desperate. He was on the run, constantly moving between hideouts, separated from his family and hunted by the authorities. His empire was crumbling, his lieutenants were being killed or captured, and the noose was tightening around him. On December 2nd, 1993, Escobar's reign of terror finally came to an end. He was tracked down to a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin and killed in a shootout with the Search Block. The circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in controversy, with some claiming he was killed in a hail of bullets, while others maintain he took his own life.
Section 9. Escobar's enduring legacy. From drug lord to cultural icon. Pablo Escobar's death marked the end of an era in Colombia. The Medellin cartel, once a formidable force, was dismantled, and the cocaine trade shifted to other criminal organizations. However, Escobar's legacy continues to cast a long shadow over Colombia and the world. He remains a controversial figure, both reviled for his crimes and romanticized for his defiance and generosity. Escobar's life has been the subject of countless books, documentaries, and television shows, cementing his status as a cultural icon. He has been portrayed in various lights, from the ruthless drug lord responsible for unspeakable violence to the charismatic anti-hero who challenged the establishment and provided for the poor. His story, with its themes of wealth, power, violence, and betrayal, continues to fascinate and captivate audiences worldwide.
Section 10. The Two Faces of Escobar. A complex and contradictory legacy. Pablo Escobar's legacy is a complex tapestry woven from threads of admiration and revulsion. To some, he was a monster, a ruthless criminal who terrorized the nation and left a trail of blood in his wake. His name is synonymous with the horrors of the drug trade, the violence that gripped Colombia in the 1980s, and the corruption that permeated its institutions. However, to others, particularly in the impoverished neighborhoods of Medellin, Escobar remains a folk hero, a symbol of resistance against a corrupt and indifferent elite. He is remembered for his generosity, his willingness to challenge the status quo, and his efforts to improve the lives of the poor. This duality, the coexistence of admiration and revulsion, is at the heart of Escobar's enduring legacy.
Section 11. Conclusion. The enduring fascination with Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar's life and death offer a cautionary tale about the seductive power of wealth, the corrupting influence of absolute power, and the enduring allure of the outlaw. He was a product of his environment, shaped by poverty, inequality, and the allure of easy money. However, he was also a master manipulator, a shrewd businessman, and a ruthless killer who exploited the weaknesses of his society to amass wealth and power. The enduring fascination with Pablo Escobar lies in the contradictions of his character and the complexities of his legacy. He was a man who embodied both good and evil, capable of great generosity and unspeakable cruelty. His story serves as a reminder of the human capacity for both darkness and light, and the enduring struggle between justice and injustice, order and chaos.